number one, we got to be resilient, and that's what we've talked about as a team. We have to be resilient. Going in, having a bye week, sometimes those are good, sometimes those are bad. It just, you never know. The one thing that's bad about it, you got the bad taste in your mouth of the Air Force game for another week. So from that standpoint, we're both teams, Hawaii and us, are coming off a bye. Both teams are 2-4. We have 6 games left that are guaranteed. We got to take each game one at a time, and we want to play more than 6. So that's part of it. We've had some adversity. There ain't any doubt about it, and some of that is self-inflicted. Some of it is just not finishing on things the way we want to finish. So that part of that adversity helps you with your mental toughness, and that's a big part that we have talked about as a team. We've played 3 of the top 5 defenses in the country. So give them credit. We got to get better, obviously, but it tells you a little bit about where we're at and who we're playing. There's we want to correct the performance and the behavior that we have at times out there, and that's one thing you do during the bye. You get a chance to self-scout, look into what we're doing and those things, and correct the performance that we don't want. Okay, and I would say also, we just got to continue to get better and grow and as a football team.
Brady, the defensive metrics are just not vintage San Diego State, and there have been so many big chunk plays virtually since week 2.
Yeah.
What's your evaluation of why this is happening to what has been your calling card for decades?
Yeah.
Defense?
Well, and I agree with that. And some of it, obviously, we've it all starts with us as coaches, but we've got to we got to tackle better at some point, and I can say that, and I have said it every week almost, but and that's part of what we practice all the time. I think leveraging the ball is a big part of it, and then we just got to continue to work on the things that we don't like, getting off blocks. We haven't done a great job, and compared to some youth that we have out there, we just got to keep going.
When you look back at the Air Force thing, what happened in the secondary? How did Larry complete all those passes?
Yeah, well, believe me, after the game, if you're going to lose the Air Force, you wouldn't think it would be through the air. And we number one, we didn't cover a guy once. We never looked outside. And secondly, the triple option, you've got to be patient with your assignment, particularly if you're one of those guys who are in the back end. And we got a little aggressive on the run. And I would say it just, you take your eyes off them, and all of a sudden that receiver's by you.
Can you talk a little bit about facing Hawaii and what are the biggest challenges they present?
Number one, I think their quarterback is really a good player. I think their wide receivers are gifted. 2 of them, I think, combined for 68 receptions. They're quick, run good routes. I think they get the ball out. Defensively or offensively, their offense is similar to what you saw Idaho State. The ball is going to come out fast. And we've faced the quarterback really, I think, 3 years now. And he's a good football player and does a nice job within the offense. Defensively, they typically up front they're going to really try and create negative plays. And that's one thing that, they've shown a little bit. I think statistically, some of those, lie a little bit when you look who they played. They've played some pretty good football teams.
They haven't been able to run the ball very well. Does that help you guys in that you can maybe go after the passer a little more?
I think they'll try and run the ball. I think they always want to try and do that. I think we've got to do a good job of shutting the run down, and then really focusing, on the quarterback and what he can do. I don't think they've tried to run it as much, Kirk, as anything. I don't see that part of it as much. I think, I'm trying to think which game it was, but there were 19 straight throws, so they've got to, they feel good in the run and shoot, and obviously, that's a big part of Timmy's upbringing and all that. So I think they're capable of being very, very good.
Part of it skewed also because they trailed in some games enough where they had to throw it in.
I still think they want to throw the ball. It's the run and shoot, right? So I think there's a lot more shooting going on.
Is Schrager more pocket, run and shoot, or does he move the pocket?
He can move the pocket, but he's more of a pocket, pro style quarterback. I've thought he's been good for the last 3 years, and he's a guy that, he can move his feet and can get out of the pocket, Lee, but he's more of a pro style quarterback.
How important is recruiting Hawaii for San Diego State? I mean, it's obviously a long series. You played in Hawaii even in bowl games last year. What's the importance of having the opportunity to play in Hawaii?
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, from the kids that we've had here in the past and the ones we'll have now and the ones we'll have in the future, I think it's really important. The high school football, the dedication to high school football and the love for it on the islands are really big, and so it's important for us. We'll have 2 guys go out there on Thursday and do some recruiting Thursday and Friday, so it's an important area for us.
Speaking of recruiting, last week you were off so you guys could get out and do some recruiting. Can you talk a little bit about how that went, what you were trying to accomplish?
Yeah, you always want to take care of home first. That's to me, and you've heard me talk about the high school football in San Diego County and how much I really think it's great high school football, and so we've tried to take care of home, and then on Friday and Saturday there was a little bit of that, and then on Thursday some guys flew out to other areas, and up through Seattle, and doing some recruiting. We'll have some guys go out Thursday to Hawaii for a couple days, but I think it's for us. It's always important. We need to get ahead of some things, and then hopefully hold on to some guys.
Brady, with the NIL and everything else that's going on in college football, how do you know that you can trust a kid or a family to say I'm coming, and 4 months later the kid now is decommitting?
That and that's happened to us. I mean, that's happened to us when there were a couple of young men when we weren't going to the Pac-12. They were with us, and then when that didn't happen, they decided that they would rather go somewhere else. And I get it. I get it. And that's all part of competing in it. And guys are going to make decisions based on different things.
A couple of those guys, I think they committed here in March or April. They said, but we're still taking trips. How much different is that now compared to years ago? Guys were committed. They were committed.
Yeah, I don't know if it's changed yet. I think it's going to be a little more interesting, as the NIL and the portal, keeps, depending on what we're going to do. We've shortened the days up a little bit, some legislation that way for when people can be in the portal and how long and all that kind of stuff. but I don't know if there's any real guardrails on any of it. You know, it's I don't know. The one good thing about a bye week is I get to watch a little more football, and it's amazing how some teams have gotten a little better through a year, through some of the guys that they've ascertained through the portal.
Do you think your definition of the word commitment is different than a lot of the younger generation?
I would think anyone over 45 would think the commitment word is different.
Does it frustrate you in that regard?
Yeah, no
The
question.
word's not their bond necessarily.
Not all the time.
Have you ever had, Brady, a situation where you've had 2 bye weeks as closely tied together as you'll have this year?
I haven't, John, and you know, it's you get the schedule and all that, and it is what it is, and you're going to play the schedule, and then, you know, you see the first bye week, and you're all, okay, good, that's a good time, 6 games right in the middle, get a little healthy, rest a little bit, get some younger guys a little bit more active to see where they're at, but then you got 2 games, and then you got another bye. That's different for me personally. I think bye weeks are funny. I mean, they are because, and I think I told the story when I was at Michigan, we played Northwestern, and it was their good year. Pat was the linebacker for them, and they were playing, they were really playing well, and they were tempo. And no one else was really running tempo. And they started running tempo. We thought we had a week off, a bye week off, we could really prepare for it, and we got our butts kicked. I mean, it was, so as a bye week, you know, I think it rests the guys more than anything. I think we had we had a good bye week, but we had a pretty good day yesterday. So we just got to continue to work and continue to improve as a ball club.
How do you view that second bye week, though? Is that disruptive, or how do you approach that?
Well, I'll probably have some meetings with NIL people. We'll be probably part of that. We'll practice a couple days. Now, we may practice a little bit more early in the week and then have our coaches around early in the week and then go out recruiting later in the week.
If you meet with NIL people, are you going to try and get like trucks for every player on the team, or where are you headed with that?
I think they're serious at Utah.
Yeah, when you saw that, what went through your mind?
I think they're serious at Utah. I mean, yeah.
I mean, how do you compete with that?
Well, I know Lee was going to help us out a little bit. Appreciate it.
Charlie Baker, the new president for the NCAA, is meeting in Congress on Thursday, and they're asking for a whole bunch of congressional resolutions that allows them to get antitrust exemptions, take over total control of NIL, obviously, adjust the transfer portal. Do you think that's going to happen quickly?
No. Do you think anything in Washington happens quickly?
Better happen. Do you think college football's in trouble?
I think the haves and have not are changing. I think it's getting more convoluted.
When you talk about behaviors and all that, one of the challenges of coaching college kids is making sure you have their attention all the time. Do you feel like you have their attention?
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk
Yeah.
about trying to
I don't think there's any doubt. This team cares, and this team is locked in. We haven't played as well as we'd like to. I think there's different reasons. I think at one time the D-line's playing real well, right, and the linebackers aren't playing as well, or the secondary, the coverage isn't tight enough. So I think it's all those things, and it goes the same way on the offensive side. You know, we can talk all day about quarterbacks and all that, But if the front's not doing anything, you're not establishing the line of scrimmage, you're not running the football, right, like you'd like to, then all those things, all 11 work together, whether it's defensively or offensively or a kicking game. You know, I think the one thing about Air Force, really proud of Jack. And, you know, it was, 61 yard? That's pretty cool. It's really cool.
Question about playing in Hawaii, is that a different environment to be a road team going in? And how come the Rainbow Warriors, they seem to play a much different game home versus on the States?
I do think it's unique, you know, and I think every time, you know, my sister, I'll say, yeah, we're going to Hawaii. Oh, when you going? You guys going over like on Wednesday? And she's been around football a long time. She's the smarter of the two sisters also. So.
You mentioned that.
But is it different? Yeah, it's 17 hours, right?
We were talking about testifying in Washington. If you were to testify in front of Congress, what would you suggest or ask for college football?
God, that's a good question. And I think the continuity that and the academic piece for kids going to college, I think we've lost that. You know, we had a meeting today and talking about you know, where guys are, where the portal, you know, well, how long is your admissions going to be open to admit the guys when the portal becomes different? You know, the APR. There's no reason to have APR. And I'll bet in 2 years we won't have it. Because who really cares about an APR if this kid's going to transfer, right? So, you know, we're a pro model. The more we get into this, the more we are a pro model. And I don't think that's good. You know, it's just like high school, recruiting high school. I feel bad for seniors in high school. Because everybody's going to work, and we're going to be the same guys. We're going to be the same guys. We're going to work hard at recruiting, but we're going to recruit that portal to get experienced guys, and we're not going to recruit some high school kids. And that's bad for the high school kids. Now, it may help the JC system again a little bit more, because that kind of, in my opinion, was fading a little bit. Some of the junior colleges, but it's, you know, I feel bad for the players as much as anything because of it, but it's also given them more freedom. And I think there's, you know, only so far you can go with that.
For the early signing date, how many guys would you hope to get for your class?
Probably 14 to 16. I got to look at that number, you know, and see exactly what we have. But I would think something like that.
Anything else for Coach? What's the key to fixing this thing against Hawaii?
I'm sorry?
What is the key to fixing this thing against Hawaii?
Number one, I would say we got to do a great job possessing the football. We got to get some turnovers. We got to turn the ball over. We got to establish the line of scrimmage running the football.
For the past more than a decade now, the bar for success here has been raised pretty high. How important are these next 6 games, not just for this season, but beyond?
I think it's always important. You know, I mean, believe me, I know I was here at one time it wasn't like this. So, Yeah, it's what you want, right? I mean, you want to coach, you want to win. Those guys, they want to play and they want to win. So, I like our team. I mean, people are going to say he's crazy. It's okay. Might be some truth. But I like our guys. I really do. I'm disappointed in some of them who have left, right? But I like our guys.